Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Hope you are having a great start to your weekend, a great start to your Saturday morning. I got y'all an update on Hurricane Sam. It is pretty much a major hurricane right now. I think the latest update is still a 110 mile per hour storm, but we likely have a major hurricane at this point. And by the time some of you watch this video, it will be a major hurricane, which is 115 mile per hour or more, category 3 or higher. So we're going to give you all an update. I'm not going to be able to make a video tonight because I'm going to a college football game. The Gamecocks are playing Kentucky. So I will be at the game tonight, so I won't be able to provide an update this evening. So I thought I'd do one this morning. Phenomenal weekend weather-wise for the entire eastern U.S. pretty much. Beautiful fall-like weather, crisp atmosphere, low humidity. And unless you're obviously in the peninsula of Florida, the southern and middle part of Florida, where you are still dealing with humidity. But beautiful weekend weather-wise. No huge weather systems or anything to talk about in the meantime. So we're really just going to give you an update on Sam and what we're talking about with Sam. Thank y'all for the amazing support. Subscribe if you haven't. Like the video if you like it. Thank y'all for the amazing support. I went over 8,000 subscribers overnight, so I'm on a mission to get to 10K before the end of the year, and y'all are definitely making that happen for me. So it's much appreciated. The amazing support. Y'all definitely give me an outlet to talk about what I love. So thank y'all. There's also a way to join my channel. Pretty much, I'm not to a point where I can give out perks or anything yet, unfortunately, but I will get to that point in long term. But it's just a way to donate to my channel, and so I can try to improve it for you guys, make things better for y'all. And it also goes to things like storm chasing, which is something I also do also. So let's get going here. So I think Tropical Tidbits is having a little bit of issues today. So we're going to look at the weathernerds.com, which is also a phenomenal free site. And this is it. This is Hurricane Sam. It is pretty much a major hurricane. It has a nice eye. It has a nice outflow going out, which means it's ventilating very well. It's a very healthy storm, and it's continuing to intensify. This is supposed to get all the way up to a category 4 hurricane as of now, the latest update. And this storm is looking extremely healthy. It's just a strengthening hurricane out in the tropical Atlantic. It has really slowed down. It's going to continue to move slow. And let's really just talk about the latest not threat, but the latest possibilities of any impacts for anybody. And I'm talking about you, Bermuda, because I really think areas of Bermuda could potentially get some direct impacts from the storm. But we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about any threats to the eastern U.S. And we're going to talk about southeast Canada. That means areas in like Nova Scotia, Newfoundland. Long term, this may affect y'all a little bit down the road, so we're going to break that down. So latest update, and let's see if we can get the latest update. Let me update this, see if it says any different here. But right now, this is per the 5 a.m. update. I'm not sure why they haven't updated this or given us an update. I think they might be waiting to get some latest information. But right now, it's a 110 mile per hour storm, another 5 mile per hour uptick, and this will be a major hurricane. But I'm telling you guys, this is probably a major hurricane at this point. So very, very strong hurricane, very, very compact hurricane. It's not some huge hurricane like Hurricane Sandy or something. Very compact but strong hurricane. It's got a nice, it's created its own environment. It's shielded itself from any shear, any dry air, and it's a very healthy storm. So going forward here, and really we can only look at weathermodels.com. Like I said, Tropical Tidbits is a little bit slow right now. I think there's just having some server errors. But right now, moving through, very, very slow. Each little movement you see is basically 6-hour intervals. So it's not moving much. So by the time we get into Tuesday morning of next week, and this is a major hurricane crawling basically. It begins to pick up a little bit speed as we get into late week next week. But look, it's not really affecting the Lesser Antilles or anybody, Puerto Rico. It looks like y'all are in the clear. But check it out. There's another storm forming behind this. And this is the latest GFS. This latest storm just fizzles out. But we'll watch that one. But really, we're just focusing on Sam at this point. That little dot right there, that is Bermuda. So per the latest GFS, if you're looking at this as if this was going to happen, it kind of passes around where Larry did, just to the east of Bermuda. It doesn't affect Bermuda really, but it gets caught up with this cutoff low that we've been talking about, that we've been mentioning, and it kind of gets pulled due north into areas of Newfoundland, maybe Nova Scotia. So southeast Canada in general, the eastern coastal areas of Canada, the islands out there, you need to watch out for this because this cutoff low is really just starting to look like it is going to be over the northeast or New England If this is the case and it gets caught up in the currents of this cutoff low, then it's going to get potentially pulled north into southeast Canada. So we have to watch out that scenario. Watch out for that scenario. At the same time, you have a ridge of high pressure, and the currents around this ridge of high pressure, which are going like this, can also pick up the storm and just carry it out to sea and eventually just not affect anybody. You look at the latest European model, same thing, has this thing really strengthening, but it has it moving further west in the medium term, if you will, and actually has it pretty much plowing, not directly, but it really has it heavily impacting Bermuda around this time next weekend. So we're going to be talking about the storm for a while. The latest European doesn't really have this storm getting caught up in that cutoff low, but it still rams this. It gets caught up a little bit, enough to pull it a little bit further north, and does exactly what Larry does. If we're taking the latest European as if it was going to happen, and pulls us right into Newfoundland. Same thing Larry did, so we have to watch out. And that would be crazy for you guys up in Newfoundland to get impacted by 2 hurricanes this year. You look at the height anomalies from this storm and what could potentially happen. It does a great job of showing us where the trough is, where the ridge of high pressure is. And this is the GFS. It brings the storm. Here it is. This is the cutoff low, the blue and green anomalies right here. And the currents around this cutoff low, this pulls Sam in. And instead of trying to make this storm move north and then northeast, it basically pulls it more due north, and it does not get caught up in the currents of this ridge of high pressure, moves this north and slingshots it into Nova Scotia and areas of Canada. So it's not affecting the eastern U.S. at all, but it could definitely affect land, and Bermuda would be the first, I think, land that it could potentially impact. You look at the latest European, kind of does the same thing. That's that trough over us right now. And here's that cutoff low right over New England and areas of the mid-Atlantic and northeast. Here comes Sam. It picks up on Sam a little bit, not as much as the latest GFS, but it kind of gets detached from this cutoff low. But this cutoff low does all it can to try to pick up this storm. And it pulls it north a little bit and eventually moves it into Newfoundland. But it looks like, per the latest European, it gets caught up in the main flow from the ridge of high pressure out here and carries it more east as opposed to more north. So you look at this, and this will show us kind of the steering currents and the wind flow here. And if you look at the GFS, here it comes. Here's the storm. The flow is moving around ridge of high pressure. So the ridge of high pressure is out here. So you got the wind stream lines here moving out of the southeast, and then they're moving out of the south. So they're basically moving northwest, then north, then northeast around this ridge of high pressure. So it's pulling this storm north. But then you got the cutoff low where the winds are moving in this direction around this cutoff low. And it's kind of fighting. There's 2 steering currents. There's 2 pulls right here. Will it take this pull around ridge of high pressure, or will it take this pull around the cutoff low? So there'll be 2 main steering currents fighting for each other. With a cutoff low on the latest GFS, it becomes more of the dominant steering current and pulls it more north. So which one wins really depends on, whichever one wins basically will tell us what scenario this takes. Will it impact a lot of land, or will it not? So obviously we're rooting for it to not impact land. So you're rooting for this ridge of high pressure to be the dominant steering current in this case. So this is the latest European ensembles. Almost all of them have it going out to sea. So if you're in the mainland of the lower 48, this is good news. It doesn't look like it's going to impact anybody per the latest information. But you notice all these lines that go into areas of Canada and Bermuda right here in the middle of all the guidance. I really think this does have a chance to impact someone. But as far as the U.S., I really am starting to think we're going to miss out with this one, which is good news. So that's the latest information. I'll keep y'all updated. I'll have y'all update tomorrow morning. Not a lot has really changed. It's still it's going to be a slow moving storm in the short term. It's going to get dominated steering wise by the ridge of high pressure, the subtropical ridge. And then the wild card here is obviously the cutoff low. So we'll try to figure out what that is going to do. But in the meantime, this is a strengthening storm. It's a major hurricane, and it will continue to strengthen. So that's all I got. You guys have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning.